I, I, I listen to the Anthonys of this world, and I laugh. I laugh because you come with a certain agenda, and you want the technology to fit in there. I am going to say something. One of the most effective technology people, or if not the most effective communicator on whatever platforms you want to call them in Uganda, is not who you think it is. But I'm going to tell you who that person is. Bad Black. Easily the most effective communicator on these platforms any day. Now, you can dismiss her and you say she talks about things that are inconsequential. Two stories. We were talking about COVID and how people should wash their hands and avoid whatever, and we were talking too much English. The day Bad Black recorded her message about COVID, multitudes of people sat up and listened. And that day, she was impeccably dressed, and she sat down, and all the people who are the masses listened to Bad Black's message. Now, we have been shouting about Mavati, NSSF, me and you. Too much English. The day Bad Black said, if they don't pay my money, I am going to talk, she was paid. That's how to use technology. So those of you looking for effective governance and how to advance democracy, there's a model. Go and consult Bad Black. And don't feel shy to learn from anyone. These people teach us all sorts of lessons. The biggest guy on TikTok is an African Senegalese who says nothing. So, what I'm challenging Josephine here is for people to deconstruct their thinking and their stereotypes about technology. And that if you're going to advance civic engagement, if you're going to advance the agenda, you're going to have to be as unconventional as the process of technology development and growth is happening. You're not going to transfer, like my good friend Winnie, from being a member of parliament and take being a member of parliament to TikTok. TikTok is not a parliament. Okay? So please, that's my point, that we may be obsessed with these technologies. It's good to know them and how they work, but the most important thing for you guys is work out how does it serve the cause that you are advancing, and then go ahead and use it. And do not fear to learn from those who you think either know nothing or are lower than you. They have a fantastic... In fact, I want to challenge... where's Abbas? Abbas, I want to challenge you. The next social media convention, your keynote speaker should be Bad Black.
Thank you, Kabshenga. So before I go back to the guys that are joining us online, on the screen, for those of us who are joining us online, you can see the QR code. It keeps coming up on the screen. It's for registration for the 3 workshops, so people can scan and register. We're going to have 3 workshops today, so if you register, you'll be able to access them. And we can only accommodate 30 people in each of those at a go, so you can only attend 1 workshop. I'm going to go back to Alex. I hope our connectivity has stabilized a bit. Alex, would you like to give us a very recent example of how people can assume their own responsibility to fight against a malicious actor?
I will be glad to do it. Actually, I have a really good example from current events, but I think I want not being so focused on technologies, because probably I will be repetitive today, but still, there is a nice example from Ukrainian history. Ukrainian national it's easier for me to talk from this perspective. Ukraine has like 3,5 revolutions in 3 decades. One can call it revolution, uprising, one call it like broad national protest movement. It's not that important. It was a really, really broad protest movement that was against the current power. In the year 1991, it was against Soviet Union for Ukraine to be an independent state. In the year 2001, it was against the president of media freedom because a famous Ukrainian journalist was killed. In the year 2004, it was about rigged elections. In the year 2013, it was about really bad decision of the current president that decided to neglect the popular opinion and didn't sign an agreement with the European Union. So the reasons were different. The media people were using were even more different. 91, it was the time of old good radio and TV screen that you have to kick to make them work. In year 2004, it was about first websites that were like really, there were no talk about artificial intelligence. You were happy when you have internet connection and can read them. In year 2014, it was the age of social media, Twitter, Facebook, you name it. But the outcome was the same. So it's much more, it's not that technologies enabled Ukrainians to uprise, whether for good or bad cause. It was like social reality that made them stand up and fight for their rights or for their cause. And I really believe that in this way, new technologies, they can somehow work like this enlargement glass. We can see our society better. It can, we can see it flaws and good sides much better. Because actually, when you don't have TikTok, it's easier to neglect the large part of society that like just want to make fun and isn't interested in any civic engagement at all. But it's the hard reality we have to face when we want to change our society.
social media army taking on Putin, one meme at a time, and it's quite an interesting read. We're going to go to the next question because of time, but I also would like to take some questions from the audience at a certain point. So, and I'm going to start with Christine because you've really been missing from this conversation. What factors shape political views on social media, and what are some of the challenges and the lessons that lie ahead based on new perspectives?
So
so I think there are basically two things. One is the effect of algorithms
Yes.
and creating echo chambers. And we all know that we belong to echo chambers. So because lately I have been obsessed with ultra athletics, 3/4 of my notifications and conversations are around running and climbing mountains. So some of the other conversations I used to have about coffee, about freedom of expression and things like that have sort of dropped by the wayside. So that effect of creating an echo chamber is extremely dangerous. So that's the one thing that I would say right away here.
Anthony, I want you to speak to the challenges and the lessons that we are learning from new perspectives.
I think, of course, the first, in terms of the challenges, of course, is the echo chambers that Robert talks about. In my space, it's about human rights. So I will likely not get a lot of content about the coffee. So it is certainly.
But the problem is that you end up talking only within yourselves.
Exactly.
So you're not influencing people outside of your circles.
Yes.
That's the
Precisely. That's the challenge. Yeah. That's the challenge with the echo chambers. And in what we do, regardless of which space we occupy, it is important to make a deliberate effort.
Sorry, I just wanted to add. Then there is the problem of robots. So you've got people who are in an echo chamber. They've got a community of 14,000, and all of them, about 12,000 are robots. Sorry, I know please excuse my age because things just keep coming back. So I read a story in The Guardian, I think it was, about an Israeli, you know the Israelis have turned this whole digital technology into a fantastic business. So there is a company that offers services to the political establishments in Africa, and they hack your account. And then, so they take time to study how you engage on social media. And they learn your language and how you express yourself. So then they hack your account and then pretend to be in your circles, whether it's your WhatsApp group or Telegram or whatever, and they pretend to be you talking. And so they are now selling their services as sabotage for people like Masake. So Masake might think he's talking to Nicholas when actually he's talking to someone in Tel Aviv. And that's how they create Discord. And Christine may want to confirm that, but I think it was deployed in Kenya, where establishment were able to hack Telegram accounts and I think Signal, whatever it is, of groups of political. And so they thought they were talking to each other when actually they were talking to guys in Tel Aviv, and the guys in Tel Aviv were passing on the information to them. It just means that we, the users of these technologies, have to be really, really sophisticated in the way that we use and be very diligent about the people that we talk to. So for instance, if I talk to you, Josephine, on Telegram, whatever it is, what I'll then do is go back on WhatsApp and check, was I actually talking to you? Just to confirm that you're the one I was talking to. So those are the risks that I just wanted to point out.
All right. Thanks, Robert. Next time we're going to have a notebook so that you don't forget the point and you write it down.
When we come to conferences, they used to give us notebooks and pens, but I should have carried my phone. So yeah, sorry about my memory.
No, it's fine. Anthony, please.
Yeah. So I was building up on that point of the echo chambers, and of course, that comes from because the question you really asked is, where does this content come from? What informs this information that we put out? So for me, from my understanding, I think really it goes back to our beliefs, our bias, sometimes the prejudices, the things that we really believe, essentially our opinions on where we are at. So if you hold a certain view, it then follows that it is very likely that when you're putting out that tweet or that Facebook post, or that the reason that's going to make you get out your phone to record that TikTok moment, all that is really based on what you really want to put out as a person, which I think is very fine, because the whole point of social media and the internet really is to democratize the space for people to put out the content that they feel strongly about. But also, we know that current affairs also shape the type of content that we are increasingly seeing online. We were talking about the issue of the Mabati. Very many young people have reacted to it. The cartoonists have come up with very, very powerful drawings on the same. So I think those two areas, I think, essentially form that. In terms of the challenges beyond the echo chambers and all, I think that there is a concern, and that's the point that Robert, I think, was trying to raise, the issue of digital safety and security. I think is emerging as a key challenge, and he has just talked about one also. I mean, it's interesting that he mentioned Israel. We also know about the NSO and the Pegasus. Exactly, NSO, exactly. So these are applications that are created to infiltrate your phone without you having to click anything. So they essentially are able to plant it on your phone in one way or another. And once they do that, what happens is they don't need your password, they don't need anything. They essentially see everything. They even see as you type. Before you even hit send, they see in real time what you're doing on your phone. If you receive a text message, they're able to read it as you read it. If it is an email, they're able to see it. Essentially, they clone your phone, and they have a copy of it. And whatever you're doing on your gadget, they are seeing exactly the same data side. And we know Pegasus has been deployed here in Uganda. And the worry, of course, now is what is happening. When we go silent, it doesn't mean that all these things go away. And so the issues of digital safety awareness are extremely crucial. And I think that it is an area that we need to do a lot more in to try and raise that awareness so that we can get at a better place for secure communications.
Thank you, Anthony. There was a clip that was going around on WhatsApp. I don't know if you saw it, about how easy it is to get into your phone if you're using public charging systems. Did anybody see that clip? You saw it, somebody, right? So you just plug in and somebody has access to everything, your bank account details, the last picture you're going to take or something. Robert, I see your hand.
No, even I was talking to a cybersecurity Ugandan, not a Ugandan, who said even just sitting next to you.
So, and Josephine, I think in relation to the same, there are some meetings that now, if you're going to have, you may want to leave your phone somewhere else. Indeed, just to go back to the point that Robert is making.
Just tell them what happens. So basically, your phone can be activated as a broadcaster remotely, and everything you're discussing is being relayed back to the guys who have activated it. So it's a recording device. You know that your laptop, the camera can be activated remotely to take photos and record what's happening in your rooms. That's how some nudes appear.
Thank you, Robert, for that very insightful addition to this conversation. Alex, I'm going to come to you, but I know you might have something to say about this question we've been speaking about.
I need to remain awake.
I've seen somebody say they're going to work on it right away. Alex, are you there? Are we still connected to? Okay. Kristen, are you online?
Transparent algorithms. If you're so regulating the tools we are using in the media sphere and online in a way that is, so I would say, rights, so promoting human rights, promoting equality, promoting all the things we think we find right, it will change things. It's not easy task because sometimes you can do a lot of harm having a good intentions, but still I really believe it can have impact. So like I see how GDRP, so